What's up? Alan Wilson here. It has been a couple weeks since I made a video. I have been healing. There's a pretty big energy shift a couple weeks ago too, so just playing catch up, but I'm out of the cast and it's still bad. As you can see, it's swollen. It was a really bad break, so I have to ask myself, like, what did I expect? This one was broke twice. It was just a crack right here, like 10 or 15 years ago. This one broke off completely, so can't. That's all I got right now, but it's just so swollen, and I just keep telling myself it's gonna take some time to heal. And of course, y'all know how much I love yoga, so I've got all these fleeting thoughts like, what if, but I just have to keep telling myself, what if it does heal 110%, so we're just gonna embrace it, and it's gonna bring on a whole new set of challenges either way, like it already has, and it's all good. So, but I have been busy. I went slow on work. I hand make the things with the idle minds, and couldn't do any of that. And one of my other businesses was slow after Christmas, and things really started picking up like the week I got out of the cast. So it's been an interesting past week or so. But and the other big news is I jumped back into my Airstream project. So last year I was looking at houses to buy, 3.5 year goal. And that's where I was at. I had fallen underneath the programming. If I buy a house, that may be what I want, maybe what success looks like and all that jazz. So I'm scrolling through for a couple weeks looking for 3-bedroom, 2-car garage houses. I am a single male with no children, never been married. And it wasn't making, it took me a couple weeks to catch it. Like, I remember, like, what am I doing? Why do I need a 3-bedroom, 2-car garage? And I stopped and I was like, oh, because of all my stuff. To store all my stuff. And that set on a new journey of looking around me and looking at all the things that help me identify what success looked like to help me identify with who I was. The moral of the story is I stopped looking for 3-bedroom, 2-car garage houses, and I bought a 1974 Airstream instead. And it was awesome. I thought of it and I thought, well, I'm going crazy. I guess that's okay. And posted on Facebook, like, I think I'm just gonna try to maybe buy an Airstream and eventually some property to put on, but I wouldn't mind traveling. And the post just blew up on Facebook. So it was sort of confirmation that I wasn't going crazy, because I don't know where these ideas come from, but I follow through with them. That's the thing, is I'm pretty in tune with myself. I'm pretty intuitive with myself and with others. And one thing I know is it is all about the journey. There's been things that I purchased throughout my life that were trophies, but then they become sort of these energy vampires. I wish I could go do this, but I've got all this stuff here, and then you have to like protect it and all that, etc. But right before I went off on the Appalachian Trail, last year in October. I spent a few months gutting it out because sleeps 4 people and I'm, a single male. So if I can get it to sleep 2 people comfortably with a nice living room built out pretty nice, that's the idea. And I was rushing things because I wanted to get it done right then, and I had a guy come in supposed to fix a small part of the frame, and he cut it all out. Like, he cut a big chunk out, like probably a total of 8 foot with cross members and extended out. And it's times like those that I stop and think about, like, whose will is it that I'm doing this stuff at? Is it my will, or is it part of God's plan? Is it really in the cards? I heard not too long ago, the universe always says yes. It says, yes, you can. Yes, but you have to wait. Or yes, but we got something better for you. So that really helped. And, I identified my mistake and in me rushing things, really getting in the way of the process. And so I stopped and just allowed Christmas to roll by. And right before 2019, I was doing a bunch of self-work to close the decade out properly. Making some amends, setting some goals for the new year. And on the list, 2+ months back, almost 3 now, I put on January, I want to at least open the door to it. And I did. And things were falling into place. I got the metal for it. I found a guy who was a great welder, came right over, we laid it out, he tacked it up, welded in, and it looks good as new. And the thing about the 2 differences was the first one was rushed. I wasn't a part of it. I didn't enjoy it. It was a task. This time around, it was creating something. It was the journey, not the destination, that I was focusing on. I was just in the moment, helped the guy lay it out. We talked about it. It was a whole fellowship kind of thing, like a brotherly fellowship. And he was a younger cat that I talked to a couple times, but he just, when you get to sit down and meet people in their everyday life and spend a few hours with them, and don't stress out about what you're doing, but actually see what kind of person they are. Talk to them about it on the job. Don't bug them, but he was enthusiastic, so it made me enthusiastic. And then when I wanted to, we basically became friends in those 2 days of hanging out, and come to find out, we have a lot in common, and he's a really good guy, but it's just the two different versions of the same story. The first one, I rushed it got screwed up. The second one, I took my time and thought more about the journey, not the destination, because it's such a big project. It's gonna have to be, step by step. There'll be baby steps, and then there'll be times where it's like leaps and bounds. So I'm excited though. Oh man, it's been, downtime 5 months, and I was on a roll too. So that's sort of where I've been at with on making the videos. And with this, really, I'm all about life lessons and spiritual teachings and all that stuff. And I like to observe life, interpret it, and report it back to you all in video. So maybe I can help somebody, but this video is, more about the journey, and the lessons are still to come with this. And it's just been such a massive release the past few weeks of, with the healing, with this, getting out of the cast, even though it's not in the best shape, it's still fine. The business is picking back up. With the Mercury retrograde too, pre-shadow and then Mercury in retrograde, it is about looking back at the past, but it kind of gets a bad rap, and people blame their shit on it for not acting right, and that's just not the thing. If people are in their power and they've done a lot of work, and Mercury retrograde is a healthy time to take a look back in a healthy manner and pick up on some dreams and goals along the way and move forward through it. If someone is not in their power and they have not done the work and they're still on or I don't want to say have not done the work, if they're still on their journey but they're really not into their power, they don't have the tools, then it can get a little bit chaotic. You know, they'll start looking back at the past and making decisions based off of today and the future on it. Even though they're kind of taking it with them, it's an old timeline that they're bringing with them. So there's a couple different ways to look at that situation and you know, see how you spot it in your life. Maybe that'll help. Are you creating chaos or are you growing? And I guess both are growing. One's a scenic route, and one is the proper way to do it to the best of our ability, I guess. But really just having trust and faith in the process, and not hurting people along the way, not hurting ourselves along the way, beating ourselves up about things. But I'm excited. I'm super excited. I needed it, and I gotta think, like, it's February, and about this time I get a revived in energy, and it happens every year, and you know, mid-December, so it's hard to see. You kind of think that's what life is at that time, but really there's a lot of cabin fever involved. You know, it's winter here, so I mean, and not that I'm not getting out and staying grounded and getting out in nature and all of that, but there's just still this aspect of it. And it's a slower time of the year for us here in the Midwest, and where it is cold, and you don't see a lot of growth. You know, the winter kills off a lot of things for new growth. And that's what I learned last year, is to kind of see winter for what it was as part of the dying process and the rebirthing process, and you know, when the winter comes along, it kills everything. It kills all the bacterias and diseases and all kinds of things. You know, the cold does. So that's sort of how I picture it for me as well, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, things like that. And I've walked through this many, many times, so, you know, I don't have to get upset about anything. Excuse me. I am, for the most part, looking at things from the observer seat. Once you go through these things and then you understand why people do the things that they do, and even why you yourself do them, it's hard to get mad at them or yourself. You know, if you truly take a look at it, you might get angry at first or upset, because anger comes from not understanding. But once you start to go through these things and show yourself some grace and mercy, and not put a big timeline on it, well, I gotta get it, you know, I gotta learn my lesson by this time, because it's not, you know, the ego will come in, will start becoming someone, look what I learned, da 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 da, and then we realize, like, we haven't learned anything. You know, or not that we haven't learned anything, but we're not as far as we thought we are, or were, sorry. But anyways, just a little quick energy update, and a healing update on my wrist. We'll see. You know, I just got to keep moving it, working it. If y'all have, say a prayer for me, meditate on some healing for me, whatever you do. If you're a prayer warrior, that's great. Thanks for everyone who has donated to the channel. As you all know, like I said, my businesses have been down, and it was a scary time. You know, I had to call some people and say, hey, you know, I might be late on a few things, but I have good relationships with them and have been on time for quite some time, many years. So that was a humbling process for me too, to call them and tell them, like, things aren't that great. You know, I'm 1.5, almost 2 businesses down, and had to be open and honest about it. And the response I got from them was a very healthy response. Don't worry about it. You know, just glad you're okay. So thanks for the donations. It is a donation-based gift economy channel. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like or subscribe to the channel if you want. Idle Minds Collective, whichever platform you're watching this on. Idle Minds Collective on YouTube, idlemindsco on Facebook. You can shop the Idle Minds Collective website, idlemindscollective.com. I'll put the link in the video. But that being said, I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.